Today is Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025, and it is Yom Revi'i, the fourth day of the week, 6 Tammuz, 5785, Parshas Chukat, and this is the PL-89 calendar, the mathematical work that I've been involved with for almost 13 years, and recently I've started to make brief presentations about it daily and explaining what it is. It's a lunisolar calendar and takes into consideration the Hebrew calendar and the Gregorian calendar, the secular calendar, and the Julian calendar, the calendar that was before the calendar reform in 1582 by Pope Gregory, I think it's the 13th, the papal bull of Inter Gravissimas on February, I think it was February 24th, 1582, when the Gregorian calendar came in, and without going too much length, long story short, it leaves the Julian calendar 13 days behind the Gregorian calendar. And that's a factor taken into consideration as well as the planet Mercury. And there are a lot of rules, a lot of ideas, a lot of systems, a lot of different things that are connected to, and it connects to. So I think I'll just share a few things every day. How it connects. It's also called the Mercury Thought Calendar. Mercury Thought Calendar. It's a calendar that connects thoughts together. It is to form some sort of reconciliation between the sun and the moon. Not that it needs my reconciliation, but that's a sort of general term that I use for it. Because of ideas that are represented by the sun and the moon. And today it's very interesting that it should be mentioned that certain days of the week in this system, certain days of the week are associated with different names. For example, and it's based on the Torah. It's my own version of a sort of a Maaseh Merkavah, the Genesis story that continues to play out every single day. So today is Wednesday, the fourth day of the week. And in the Genesis story, the fourth day of the week is the day that the sun, the moon, stars were created. And the Hebrew name Meir is associated with the day. So I don't know how it happened, if it's just my own projection, or I'm not sure how it works, but if I did project it, I happen to see that all the time, the name Meir show up on Wednesday. And I'm not sure which came first, your own projection, or it was given to you, or by some other external source. But at any rate, the name Meir for me shows up a lot on Wednesday, and for the reason that it says Yehi me'orot b'rakia shemayim, let there be lights in the heavens. So Meir is a variant of that name, me'orot, Meir, and so the one who started the Daf Yomi, in fact, is named Meir, and so if it's Wednesday, I would find it appropriate to talk about Rabbi Meir Shapiro, who started the Daf Yomi, who was a young man at the time when the Daf Yomi idea. Daf Yomi is the regimen of learning a page of Talmud every day, and it was started, the very first day was on Rosh Hashanah in 1923, which is the year Tafresh Pei Dalet 5684, and just turned 100 years old last year, because last year was 5784, and so it's important to mention his name today, and how the Daf Yomi plays an integral role in this calendar system. And today's Daf number is 14. And when we started this cycle, it was around January 5th. I think it might have been January 5th, Sunday, January 5th was Brachot Daf Bet. the first page of Tractate Brachot in the Babylonian Talmud. And today is the 2006th day of the Daf Yomi, which means if you started from Brachos Daf Beis, first page in Shas, and you find yourself on Avodah Zarah 14, which is today's daf, the daf of July 2nd, which is the 6th of Tammuz, 5785 or 2025 respectively, you will find that there are exactly 2006 days. Today is the 2006th day. And that's remarkable. And the reason why I think it's incredible is that this can only be said today and not any other day. That the Hebrew date is the 6th of Tammuz. And the Gregorian date, and that's represented by the moon. And the Gregorian date, the secular date, is July 2nd. So that's 2 and 6. If you take the number 2006, you have two zeros there. And if you rearrange it, it has a 2 and a 6 in there. And so it wouldn't have worked yesterday because, it would have worked yesterday, July 1st. Right, it only works today because July 2nd and the 6th. Yesterday was the 1st and the 5th. So, but anyway, so that idea of it being July 2nd and then Tammuz 6th, which is the same digits as 2006, it may sound like some might consider that a childish kind of correlation just by matching the digits, but I think that it's very intentional. Seems to be that way in any case. And I like to keep these videos under 15 minutes, so I'll try to get as much as I can in here. It's called the Mercury Thought Calendar because of the time span. This grid has 80 days, but then under here is an invisible other up to 10 days, or possibly 11 days. Depending if it's a 30 or 31 on the Gregorian calendar. But that would be the maximum of 90 or 91 days, which is a quarter of a year, which is said to be the orbit of Mercury around the sun. So a Mercury year is a quarter of our year. And so that's why it's called the Mercury Thought Calendar. And the Mercury idea is like, and now I understand, based on the verse in Genesis, when it says, as a shemesh, as a yereach, as a kochavim. And Mercury in the modern Hebrew is called kochav chama, the star of the sun. But as of today, Wednesday, which is the most appropriate day to do this, I'm adding that this Mercury is not just Mercury, but it's representative of any other planet or star. It's basically the sun, the moon, and then the stars. And it's based on that verse. And what's remarkable about today is that I saw in two different shiurim. One by Rabbi Reuven Wolf, and then by Rabbi Yitzchak Breidowitz. And they both mention the same idea, that in this week's Parshas Chukas, or Chukat, depending on your pronunciation, it spans 38 years. This Parsha spans because the events that happened in the beginning of the Parsha about the red heifer, the red cow, and then Miriam's passing, which happens at the end of the Israelites' journey in the wilderness. So it goes, this Parsha itself spans a time of 38 and a half years. And they both said that. And they both have very different styles of talking, but they both said that relatively early on in their shir, and you can look that up. Rabbi Wolf's shir for this Parshas Chukas is called "Bold and Aggressive for the Big Prize." It's the Parsha in My Life or something like that. For this week's Parsha Chukas, 5785. And in Rabbi Yitzchak Breidowitz's shir, it was called "Reborn in New Life." And they both said this idea about this Parsha that it spanned 38 years. Now, why is that interesting? If they both said the same thing, there could have been other rabbis that said the same thing, but these are the two that I picked today. So the fact that I saw both of them and they both said the same thing, I'd like to demonstrate how it correlates to the PL-89 thought calendar. That this is meant to measure thought and quantify thoughts that happen within a time frame that come with the sun and the moon and Mercury, etc. On the Mercury calendar, the 1st of July is 38, which was yesterday. Now, each one of these little boxes, they're called boxes because this is box 38, but it's actually square 61 because squares refer to the shape. It refers to just the number of days. So the number of squares, but it doesn't refer to the number that's printed on the box. What's printed on the box for today is 7. But in each one of these squares, it's these boxes. That's like the 3D version of a square. So box 38 is July 1st, and box 7 is July 2nd, which is today. Now, the rule is that every one of these purple and violet squares or boxes, depending on how you're calculating it, can be one cell. It's like in Excel when you kind of make it one cell, you remove that line there. So this is today is also 38. It's also 7:15, which if I have enough time, I'll make it there, because 38 years, 38 and a half years. And they both said the same thing, but that correlates to today's box. How is it that this box of July 2nd / July 1st correlates the number that they both said? And I saw it, and I didn't see it beforehand. That's one idea. And we're approaching 15 minutes very quickly, so I'll get to the next one. On the Hebrew calendar, we're in the 6th of Tammuz. That's 1. And you can say that 7 minus 1 is 6. That's a simple idea, but so if you take the Gregorian and the Hebrew and you subtract one from the other, you get the other date. But what I'd like to share is also the Teku idea. Now, I've been doing a program called Teku because in the Messianic era, all of our Tekus will be answered. That's the tradition by the Messiah, by Elijah the prophet. It goes together with the coming Messiah. And the gematria of Teku Kuf Tzadik Tet, which means Teku 199. What's Teku 199? Teku 199 is the 199th Teku that occurs in Shas. And it occurs on today's Daf, which is 14. The gematria of Teku Kuf Tzadik Tes is 715. And today's cuboid, which means 2 squares, is 7 and 15. How does that happen? The daf of the day has the gematria, the teku that occurs on today's daf has the gematria value of the date on this calendar.